Seven is when it kind of starts getting real.
Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Dr. Reynolds and I'm the principal at the middle school. And so I want to say thank you for coming if you are here in person, and hello if you are online. So the purpose of today's meeting is just to give a little insight to our scheduling process for the upcoming school year. It's hard to believe we're in April, but we've already got to be ready for the next school year. So with that said, there's not a lot that's going to be changing, but some of it is the functionality and how we're using our system a little bit differently, which is why we wanted to have you in for a meeting, just to let you know about those changes and so we could have a dialogue about it in case there were any questions. But from the student experience, I don't think that your students are going to feel a lot of, it won't seem different to them as much this year compared to next year. But again, since there are changes, we wanted to make you all aware. So we have our team with us today. We have Miss Maggie Moffett-Baxter, who's one of the assistant principals. we have Mr. McGarvey, who's with us, who's our other assistant principal. And doing the majority of the speaking today are the grade 6 and grade 7 counselors, Miss Christina and Mr. Mark. And you might know them already because your child is currently enrolled in grades 6 and 7. So with that said, we have a presentation for you, but we are going to open up the floor to questions and answers because we do know the course requests are going to go home this afternoon. Actually, during this meeting, you're probably going to get an email from us opening up the courses. So we want you to be well prepared and make sure your students are well taken care of so they can make the best decisions for their electives moving for next year. So with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Miss Christina.
We're tag teaming. Hi everybody, welcome, thank you for coming. Like Dr. Reynolds said, we're just going to give you an overview. We want to make sure you're well informed because this letter that's going to go out today is going to be all about course selection and helping your child choose courses for the next school year. So we're going to start with the course requirements. Okay, this is pretty basic. I think we're all well aware that every child in middle school needs to take math, English, science, social studies, also PE, also Arabic, and crew class. They also get to take electives. The grade 6s that are currently in school with us now did not get to choose. That's something that will change. And our students in grade 7 will also get to choose. So we're going to have 2 sets of electives to choose from. We have year-long electives and we have semester-long electives. A semester is half a year. All students, all of our current 6s and 7s going into 7 and 8 will get to take 2 full credits of electives. The year-long electives are worth 1 credit and the semester-long electives are worth half a credit. So there's a bunch of different ways that they could get to that 2 credit limit, and that's really up to them and to you, and they'll have that choice in choosing what they like. Yeah, all the core, or the core classes, all the required classes, which also includes Arabic class and PE and crew, and then the elective classes. Yeah, so essentially most kids will have about 9 classes on their schedule.
And our Muslim students will do Islamic and also have a elective also, which will flip-flop Islamic, elective Islamic, so they can make a choice as well. So what stays the same? English, Math, Science, Social Studies, all the core classes, just like we mentioned. The group classes stay the same. Our colour houses, our schedule and our timings stay the very same. In fact, I'll show you in a second, it's probably going to get a little bit easier for our students to interpret because it's a lot more consistent. Lunch breaks are the same. So the timings are largely the very same, or actually completely the same. Okay, what will change?
Okay, so we do have some changes, and again, like Dr. Reynolds said, most of the students won't feel these changes as big changes, but we need to make you aware of them. We're going to have some classes that require a teacher recommendation. This actually was the same last year for grade 8. So students going into grade 8 math, the grade 7 teacher currently in math will have made a recommendation for them whether to take Math 8, which is our standard grade level math class, or IM1, which is the integrated math class. So that one will require a recommendation. And I know some of you probably have talked about this, grade 7 parents during PTCs with your child's math teacher.
For our grade 6 going into grade 7, where there's a recommendation necessary, is for the band or choir. Depending on our students' level and where they're at from grade 6, the music teacher and the choir teacher will determine if they're at the level to go into band or choir. And they'll be year-long.
So again, some of the foreign language classes and some of the elective classes will require either a teacher recommendation or a prerequisite. So an example might be advanced coding and robotics, which we haven't had before, but we're happy to announce that we're going to have that offering next year for students. But it's required that they would have taken coding and robotics with us before, or have some sort of knowledge. So it's kind of up to the teacher if the teacher decides if they do have the necessary knowledge to be successful in advanced coding, then they will get that recommendation.
Yes, and what we've been able to do is to closely align the subjects to transition into high school a lot smoother. So with having a lot more selection, there's a lot more continuity as well, also whether it's with the arts, media, design, choir, band, and that way I guess we're hoping and feel that we'll have our kids a lot more prepared and understand themselves a little bit better, and the courses that they're interested in as they go into high school.
Exactly. So there's lots of benefits, I think, because not only are we offering more electives, which gives our kids more choices, we're also offering some advanced classes, which means if they really love coding and robotics, for example, and they took it this year, that means that they can take the advanced class next year. And that really allows them to kind of dive deeper into the subject, into areas that they really have an interest in.
So if you just pay attention, this is the schedule, week 1 and week 2. Where I was coming from when I mentioned it's going to get easier, we have A day and B day. So on any given day, within weeks and maybe even sooner, our students will know on Monday I have A1, and you know it because it doesn't change. So if A1 on Monday is science, it's always going to be science. Science Monday, science Wednesday, science Friday. And then if you see on week 2, B3, let's say it's English, it'll always be the same. So it'll be consistent, and it's actually more, the kids will see the teachers more time and more exposure to each subject as well.
Okay, so I mentioned briefly that there's going to be course selection happening soon, happening starting today actually. So today we're giving you the information, and like Dr. Reynolds mentioned, there's going to be a letter sent out to all parents. And I just took a quick screenshot. This is what it looks like. It's going to give you all the information you need to help your child choose courses for next year. There's going to be links to all the course descriptions. So we do have a lot of new electives, for example, and if your child isn't sure about what a class is, the link is there so that they can go and read about exactly what the class is.
Yes, sorry. No, I was going to say absolutely everything is there, from how to sign into PowerSchool, how to run through the system, there's breakdowns and definitions of each course, what the prerequisites are, and if you have, I'll have one of these sent out as well. I'm sure you guys have my email, so if there's any questions at all, just send an email and I'll be sure to clear things up as soon as I can. No. Yes. Sorry?
Yeah, so basically what will happen is, and this is actually something new this year, when kids are going to go in and choose their courses, what's going to be different is instead of a Google form being sent out, they're going to log into PowerSchool. They all should know how to do this, but if they've forgotten, In crew classes, their crew teacher is going to help them log in. They log in with their Google credentials. They're going to log in, and then there's a little link on the left-hand side that says class registration. They're going to click it, and then the classes that they get to choose will appear. I think it's actually a little icon with a pencil, and if it's green, that means they get to go in and choose. If it's red, it means it's already chosen for them. So they don't get to choose math, science, English, etc. Those are already going to be in there for them. And actually what's really helpful is in the letter there's going to be a link to a screencast which shows you and your child step by step exactly how to go into PowerSchool, how to log in, how to choose the classes, what it looks like. So it's really helpful. I watched it this morning.
Me too, me too. So we have till Monday, April 24th. But I'm sure anyone that has any questions will have everything or any needs that you have resolved way before then. We're going to go around to all the crew classes this week as the teachers sit down and run a lesson with them. Make sure that we give each of our kids a chance to ask any questions and clarify, because I know we have time, but ideally we want the kids to make an informed decision and be happy with the decisions that they've made. So we'll make sure that we're around all this week, and after that for that matter. So the same principle as for you. If you have any questions, it'll be for the kids as well. And that's us. If you have any questions, you have our emails there. If you have any technical issues, I'm pretty sure you should have this on your system with the help desk. That's it. Any questions?
Hello. So, is there a limit for each course? Like, there are limited students for each section, that's being mentioned. So, there is a limit for each class? Like, if there is a demand for one course, like more people are choosing, so that means first come first serve, or how you decide, like whether if the selection is...
Sure. So yeah, if I understand your question, it's so if you have a really popular course, let's say it's art, and all the kids are choosing art, they want art, then we would see the number of course selections. It'll say 200 kids chose art. So that tells us how many sections we need, and it'll tell us how many teachers we need to, or how many times that teacher needs to teach that course. So for example, if we have, say it's our new class is publication, so the yearbook, they're going to make the yearbook. Say we have 3 students who sign up for yearbook. That class probably isn't going to run. You know what I mean? Because there are too few students, right? So we're taking that into account, so it does help us with our staffing, both sides, and if we need to offer more sections or fewer sections.
Strength and conditioning tends to be...
Strength and conditioning is a hot one.
That tends to be very hot. So,
may we see a list of the available courses?
in this group, well, it will be sent out to you this afternoon.
Okay.
All right, we'll wait for that. Hi. Sorry, this is a little bit unrelated, but I have a question about your homework policy, especially for grade 8. Is it actually, is the same policy in place for next year for grade 8? Basically no homework, even for classes like math?
I mean, there's always suggested work for them to do, but there isn't there is a homework policy. We tend to go with the number that shouldn't be more than 80 minutes a night for grade 8. That's Marzano's rule. It's actually best practice. A lot of our students don't end up having homework if they complete things in class time, but there's always extra for experts, or there's always extra IXLs or even assignments and things like that that the teachers post that they can do if they want. The way it works in math in grade 7, for example, is they give a bunch of IXLs that have to be done by the end of that unit. So students kind of work at their own pace with a lot of the homework.
It strikes me as not really being viable at this age, you know, just comparing with friends in the US, some more competitive high schools, it's just they have hours of homework. And
Our results are better.
yeah, so, I mean, time will tell, but it just strikes me as like, can we ask for more?
And I think that's a good point, and I think that conversation we need to have with grade 9. So like, is it a big jump from grade 8 to grade 9? Just so that there is a consistency that they are ramping up to a more difficult grade level. So yeah, that's definitely something we take into consideration.
Can we approach our band teacher, for example, next year and ask him for more?
I can just say from a high school perspective, it's not a big jump from grade 8 to 9.
No, I think the suggestion that she made, which is they give a bunch of suggestions for IXL, it makes more sense. So if the kid feels he needs to do the extra practice, he does. And if he hasn't completed in class, he does. In grade 6, that's how it's done now. They're not given homework. I understood from his teacher, if he doesn't finish his work in class, then he has to do it at home. If there's something he doesn't understand and he wants extra practice, there's a bunch of suggestions. Is that the case in grade 7 as well?
We do follow a similar.
Okay. Because you're saying 80-minute homework. My son has never done 80 minutes of homework. So.
That's the limit. That's the
That's the limit for grade 8. It's 60 for grade 6, 70 for grade 7, 80 for grade 8.
I mean, he reads 20 minutes, you know, and then if he has to work, he does. Thank you.
Okay, you want to put it up?
Regarding the Spanish and French courses, they have to choose one, or they can go without choosing any language?
I need to show them.
So they do not need to choose a foreign language in middle school, but it will limit their opportunities when they get to grade 9, which does then have those knock-on effects for trying to do, I believe, higher level IB. So that's a conversation if your child is wondering about that, to have that conversation with the counselor specific to them. Yes.
MEA?
Yep. You can switch to Spanish, no problem.
Oh, my.
Yep. Yes, they can. In grade 7, they can switch. Usually they continue the same one, but we do offer beginner Spanish in grade 9. So if they want to start fresh at grade 9, they would be able to start there, but we do not offer beginner French in grade 9.
Just a quick question. If my son had a recommendation from his math teacher in grade 7 to take advanced maths for grade 8, so if how long does he have if he couldn't keep up with the advanced classes? Can he drop them and go back to standard?
Yeah. We definitely use the first couple of months to see how the students are adjusting, see how they do on their first MAP scores, things like that, and then we do make very few changes, but there are changes that can be made.
When I asked his teacher this question, he was like, sometimes there are no spots available, so it has to be somebody that switches from this class to this. It has to be like 2 people.
We're actually really fortunate this year with our student numbers that we are usually able to make those accommodations.
Thank you.
Is there only one elective that she can decide on for the, there are going to be 2, right?
No, so the thing is, once you see the course offerings,
Right.
some of them are semester-based, some of them are year-long. So if they chose 2 semester-based plus a year-long, that's 3 electives.
Got it. So they have to choose 2 semester-based.
They can, they don't have to. It depends which electives they want. Some are year-long, some are semester-based.
I get it.
So
is
it's
it like a
it's
minimum
color-coded up here, so that the blue ones are year-long, the green ones are semester-based, and if they're highlighted in yellow, it means they're pairing with Islamic. So Islamic students can choose those.
So is it the number of electives they choose? Is it a certain number? Right. It depends upon how many.
Yep, so it depends on what they choose. So they can choose between 2 and 4. So let's say hypothetically they wanted to take 2 year-long courses. So they wanted to take Spanish and then There's another one that if we scroll down that's a year long. So if you do that, what's that? Concert band. If you want to be in Spanish and concert band, those would be your 2 electives because those 2 electives would run the whole year alone. Now, if they said, well, I want to take concert band, but then I want to take drama and I want to take media, well, then you get 3. Or you could say, you know what, I want to change at the semester for all of my electives. Then you could say, okay, I want to take photography, I want to take art, I want to take mixed media, I want to take sculpture. So then you're choosing 4, but it still takes up 2 slots, if that makes sense, throughout the year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, then they keep changing.
Yes.
That's the choice that they make.
Yeah, so they're going to choose between 2 and 4, and it's going to come up as 2 credits, even though in middle school you don't normally give credits. That's what they say.
Yeah, excuse me. So, just 2 quick questions. As far as the electives are concerned, I'm assuming that I'm young people. Wasn't that? Just 2 questions. One, as far as the electives are concerned, are there going to be any map tests around the electives, or that's not? There's no map testing. Back on that language question, because last year I think we were told when in grade 6, my son's in grade 6 going to grade 7, I was under the impression that they have the opportunity to do both Spanish and French, so that by the time they come to the 7th grade, they have to choose one. I heard something about 10 minutes ago which said they can still swap and do both, or they can choose one and then swap out of that in grade 7? No.
Technically, they could do beginner Spanish in grade 7 and beginner French in grade 8, but they would really have to think about what they want moving forward for the IB.
Thank you.
Yeah, the biggest implication is IB. So if you're switching courses, particularly in foreign language, and you want that to count in IB, then probably you wouldn't switch. That way you can reach the level that you need to reach in order to be in IB.
I have a few questions. So this year, as he said, he did Spanish and French, so he was asked to choose, he chose French. When I spoke to the teacher, my son has already a base in French, she told me there's only 1 level of French. When do you start differentiating levels? Grade 7? Or is it all beginner in grade 7?
No.
Now actually it's even more, it's more diverse. So yeah, if you scroll up, there we go. Yeah, so in grade 6, which doesn't matter to you anymore, they're going to choose, do they want to take French or do they want to take Spanish? What we found was the kids generally chose the one that they thought they were going to choose. So we decided, okay, let's let them pick right off the bat. So if you look at the middle column and the far right column, that's grades 7 and 8. So now we have the option. If they took Spanish in grade 6, they can choose to take intermediate Spanish in grade 7 and then move on to advanced in grade 8. However, if, like you said, maybe they didn't take it in grade 6, we still want to provide the opportunity for those students to take Spanish. So we have an intro level course now that a grade 7 or a grade 8 student can take.
And sorry, I have 2 more questions.
Sure.
This year he took innovation and design. What is that? Is that coding and robotics? Is that innovation in media? Is it the same thing?
So innovation in design is rebranded as innovation in media, just because it's to align with the other classes. It's the same course.
Okay, and for instance, my kids are non-native Islamic. They're registered as other. So if he does Islamic in middle school and then he decides in high school he doesn't want to do it anymore, I'm told that's not a problem. If he's non-native Islamic and registered as other, he's not registered as Muslim in the system.
He does not have to take the Islamic. Let's talk after though, just to make sure what's in the. There's one more question. I used to work in the high school.
Just another question. There are a certain number of credits for art by the end of high school in English. So do the students know from grade 8 and 7 how many credits they have to have by the end of school? And so in order they can know what electives to choose in order to be able to complete those
So
credits?
all of that credit stuff and GPA starts at grade 9. It doesn't actually pertain to middle school. Yeah, and we do have information sessions with our grade 8s going into grade 9 so that they start to understand how important GPA is. Yeah, sure. Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah, what do you need to see?
So our two main technology electives are Innovation in Media, which is with Mr. Brinkman, and we also have the Coding and Robotics, was with our Innovation Activator. We're also adding a photography class this year. And then, I wonder if any of the other these, Media and Technology in Drama is more about the production of drama. And then we also have on here Contemporary Music, which is going to be creating your own music. So lots of technology in there too. So there are descriptions in the letter that you're getting today. There's a link with a document that has all of the course descriptions. Learning an instrument would be the first band, intermediate band. Yes. Yes, our drama teacher, Rian Dewires. He could take advanced in the second. Yeah.
Okay, so the question is about the foreign language. You said that my son is in 7, so he's going to 8 next year, so he gets to pick the language, and he's now doing Spanish. How do we know that he should pick intermediate or advanced? Is it on teacher's recommendation?
It'll be teacher recommendation. So he's going to give it a good shot himself and be like, I think that I'm quite good at this. I think I should be advanced. If our Spanish teachers then look at the list and say maybe he should be intermediate, there will be a conversation there, and they will decide together.
Okay, it's the same with math?
Math is already decided.
It's already decided?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So I understand that the core classes are already decided by the teachers and whatnot, but if a parent or a student comes across whatever is listed in there and doesn't agree with whatever that decision is, whether it's a student being placed in a higher level or vice versa, how do we approach that? Because that's something we won't have an option to do.
For sure. For math specifically, I would talk to the math teacher. If it's for any of these other electives, then it's a conversation just to have with your student, and they should be able to talk to the teacher about where they are. I mean, for coding and robotics, it's pretty clear where they are, right? So I think that should be fairly clear, but if there is something that you have a question about, I do recommend reaching out to the teacher now.
And I think also
and the counselors.
For those electives, it's important that your child makes a decision about a subject that they feel passionate about or they think they'll be passionate about, not because their friends are doing it. And that's not always the best option. So please sit down, have those conversations with your child about, what do you want to do, what do you feel passionate about. I don't expect any middle school students to be making life-altering decisions down in middle school, but where do you think your passions will lay in the future? So it's important, and it's a good opportunity for you as parents to have those conversations with your child about, what's the next steps for you, where do you think you want to go, okay? And the fact that we've got year-long options and semester options means if there is something there that they choose as a semester option, they're only doing it for a semester. If something that does not work out, then they'll be moving to something else in semester 2.
Sorry, just as a follow-up from her question, you said you should speak to your math teacher now. Does this mean
Current grade 7s.
No, so for current grade 6, going to grade 7.
There is no option. You just get placed in math 7.
Ah, okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, so that is another one. Once they get their course recommendations, that will be on there already. So if they're recommended for the advanced, that's the option that they have when it's there. If you disagree with that, or if you want some information to support that, please get in touch with your math teacher. We base it on internal marks, we base it on our math tests, and we base it on their attitude and their readiness. Yes, that's already in. When they go to course select, it's already there. Oh, and if your child had Samara Kadir, who's now on maternity leave, please reach out to Christina if you've got questions.
How many electives do they need to take from grade 7 going into grade 6 going into grade 7 2?
It depends.
Or if he takes, this is my question, so if he takes 4 half semesters?
That's 4 different electives. Or they can take 1 year long into half semesters, or they can take 2 year longs.
Is there a recommendation
whatever tickles their fancy, whatever they're interested in. No, each semester.
Foreign languages worth 2 credits.
We only have 2 semesters in middle school.
It's a year-long elective.
No, we haven't completely decided.
Hi, I'm slightly confused about the Islamic and elective option. What's going on there? Like, aren't the kids taking Islamic, one elective, and then one more section?
Yeah, so all of the students, yeah, it's similar to now. So they have an Islamic class and they have an elective class, an Islamic class and an elective class. And all the ones that are highlighted in yellow are options for Islamic students, because those ones in the system, we're able to pair them against Islamic. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that with every single elective, but please bear in mind that every student has the opportunity to choose any elective. It's just the Islamic students will have to choose one that's paired against Islamic.
One of them will have to do the other.
Basically, you don't need to read an email now. We're done.
Yeah, if you want to know specifically about the courses, like I know we've heard a couple times, like what is offered in this course. If I take Innovation in Media, what is that course about? So that is one of the handbooks that's in the letter. So you'll be able to take a look today. Yep, absolutely. It should actually, my goal is to have it out to you before school is out today. So that way, as soon as they get home, hopefully we get, while it's fresh in your minds, get it done. Which does lead me to my next point. If, say today, you're like, oh yes, Innovation in Media sounds great, I want it, and then Friday rolls around and there's, oh, you know what, I don't want Innovation in Media, I really want to take sculpting instead. You can go in as many times as this window's open and change classes, change electives. So it's not like set and done. It's set, you hit submit, but then you can always go back in and make changes while the window's open. Yeah? Till the 24th, yes. We'll have it go through the workday, so you have time on Monday. Yes.
For the recommended classes, I have a daughter joining next year. She will be in grade 8. My son also will be in grade 8. Now, he got his recommendation. How does it happen for the newcomers?
So we triangulate data. So we take a look at MAP scores, we take a look at CAP 4, we take a look at old grade cards, old teacher recommendations. From that information, we kind of guess where they're going to go. And by and large, that's with the counseling department and with admissions. There were a couple other ones.
When we go into register for a grade 7, do we register for the whole year or just the first semester? Can we choose for semester 1 and semester 2?
Yes, you choose for the whole year, all up front. Yeah. If you haven't taken it, you'd be fine in intermediate. Intermediate will be a fine course. The question was coding and robotics. Specifically, if they don't take coding and robotics in grade 6, are they okay for intermediate in grade 7? The answer is yes. Or if they skip it altogether in grade 7, if they didn't take it this year, they want to take it next year as grade 8, they can.
I think it's also important to just mention again that tomorrow and on Wednesday in our crew classes, our crew teachers will be going through this with our students as well. So we'll be having those conversations in school, and you'll be having those conversations at home so that our students can make as informed decision as possible.
Okay, and if you have any either specific questions about your children and you want to stick around, we of course, the administrators are available. We also have our counselors on hand. So if you have anything that you're not quite sure of or something that just pertains to you, not to go to the room, please find us. Otherwise, the information is all going to be sent in the letter, we promise. Just make sure you have a look through them because I think there are like six or seven links that we gave you just to try to make sure you set it up and then there's the screencast in order to make the course selections. Okay? All right. Thank you all very much for coming. We really appreciate it. Thank you at home, and look out for that email later today.